What is up? And welcome back to another episode of Coop and Goose. On today's episode, we have ourselves the title, Feed the Pigs.
The pig, just singular pig.
Feed the Pig.
Feed the pig.
But no, I'm pretty excited for this story. I think it's gonna be a banger.
I know nothing about it except for that you told me that you think that it's supposed to be somebody walking through hell. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting. So
this is a 18 not safe for work story. So here's your warning now.
So if you're not 18, leave.
What are you doing? Like the video at least, then leave.
And subscribe.
And subscribe so that way when you do turn 18, you can come back and watch it.
Save it, download it, and then listen to it while you're at work, like how I do.
Exactly. All right. Who wants to start?
I started the last one, I'm pretty sure, so you can start this one.
All right. And here we go with Feed the Pig. I slowly opened my eyes. My head was swimming, and a dull pain surrounded my throat. I was thirsty. It was the first thing I noticed. I licked my dry lips as my surroundings faded into focus. My body ached, and I realized it was because I was tightly bound to a metal chair in the middle of an empty room. The Baron... is that the Baron? Baron?
Yeah, Baron.
The Baron...
the Baron concrete... Yeah, sure. Baron? Okay. Yeah.
I think it's Baron. The barren concrete walls were stained and dirty. The floor beneath my bare feet was cold and slightly wet.
Gross.
A single light bulb lit the room, dangling from the ceiling by a string. It cast moving shadows, and I blinked back. Darkness. An open door stood before me, but I couldn't see anything but the wall of a hallway. Ooh, so the door's open?
I guess so.
Yeah, an open door, I guess, yeah. Didn't register that when I read it. I tried to clear my head, tried to remember how I got here. I squeezed my eyes shut and focused myself not to panic. I slowed my breathing and focused my thoughts, desperately trying to summon some recollection of why I was here. I couldn't remember anything. I opened my eyes and exhaled, my parched throat throbbing. I could hear sound echoing off the hallway halls. Outside the door, screaming, clanging, howling, all very distant, but that did nothing to help calm my nerves. Hello? I cried, the words tearing at my vocal cords. I felt my chest hitch in pain, but I cleared my throat and yelled again. Oh my goodness. Rocco's here.
Spooked. Cooper gets scared part 4.
Is anyone there? Hello? The dark hallways remained silent except for the constant echoes. I shut my mouth and tried to wiggle free of my bindings, but the rope was knotted and possibly tight. I fought back against my imagination as it flooded my mind with horrific scenarios of what awaited me if I could only remember. Suddenly, footsteps erupted from outside the door. A rapid patter of small feet. My hopes rose. I trained my attention on the door, praying it was help. A young boy ran into the room, dressed in a red onesie, complete with padded feet. Stretched over his face was a plastic devil mask. The eye holes revealed massive blue eyes with
eyes.
Blue eyes that greeted me curiously. Taken back, I opened my mouth to speak, but that's when I noticed something was off. His eyes were huge, impossibly round and bulging from their sockets. It sent a shiver of unease down my spine. But I shook it off. That child might be able to free me.
The only question I have is, does the kid know what it's like to be the bad man behind blue eyes?
What?
Only real ones will get it.
I guess. Are you talking Blue Eyes White Dragon?
No, but this is my next joke. Is he possibly white and also a dragon?
Hey, I hissed urgently. Hey, kid, can you get me out of here? The boy took a step closer, cocking his head, but remaining silent. I rattled my bound arms against the chair. Cut me free, please. I shouldn't be here. This is some kind of mistake. The boy's eyes The boy eyed me behind his strange mask and stopped directly in front of me. He leaned in close and whispered, his voice like wet silk. You did a bad thing. Ooh. Confused, I shook my head. No, this is a mistake. I didn't do anything. The boy's enormous blue eyes suddenly filled with sadness. Oh, you did a really, really bad thing. He shook my head. I shook my head again, violently. No, I'm sorry. I don't remember. Just please get me out of this chair. Suddenly, before either of us could speak again, a man came charging into the room. He was overweight and dressed in overalls, his grizzled face twisted in seething anger. He was holding a sawed-off shotgun in his arms. I didn't do anything, I cried as he advanced on us, my voice cracking. I'm not supposed to be here. The big man ignored me and instead grabbed the kid and shoved him hard against the wall. The boy grunted as his back struck the concrete and his eyes rose to meet the grizzled man. Wordlessly, the man raised his shotgun and placed it against the boy's forehead and blew his head off. Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
No negotiation, just straight to it.
You first, ask questions later. Yeah.
Chunks of
average
gore.
cop mentality.
What?
Continue. Nothing.
Oh. Chunks of gore splattered the wall and shock sludged me in the stomach like an iron fist. My ears rang and the time seemed to slow as I watched in horror the headless boy crumbled to the ground. My breath.
Sneeze.
You do? Bless you?
Yeah. No. Keep
Uh-oh.
it in if I can get it, because somebody someday will make a Goose Sneezes compilation. It's fucking gone.
Yep, there it goes.
God damn it. Continue. Sorry.
My breath rushed back into my lungs and time seemed to readjust. Jesus fucking Christ, I screamed, straining against the ropes, my eyes bulging in horrific shock. What the fuck? Richard? The man ignored my screams as he bent down and picked up the boy. He slung the ruined corpse over his shoulder and walked out the doorway. Suddenly, the hallway erupted with malicious laughter. A chorus
malicious.
Oh, malicious laughter. A chorus of voices howling in glee. I
don't even like that show.
Same. The noise deafening as absolute terror filled my every pore. After a few moments, the slaughter faded. God damn it. After a few moments, the laughter faded, and I cautiously opened my eyes, unable to believe what I just witnessed. Hello? I jumped as I realized there was another man standing before me. He was dressed in a simple white button-down shirt and jeans. His brown hair was cut short, and he appeared to be in his early 30s.
And he was from Canada. He said, "Hey, how you doing, bud?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, bud?
Hey."
What brings you down to Minnesota?"
His green eyes were dull and lifeless. His full lip pulled down at the corners.
His full lips pulled down at the corners. What does that mean? Like it's like.
I think there's another thing right here. I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
What is going on? Where am I? I cried. I new fear pooling in my stomach like hot blood. The man crossed his arms. So, you're the new one, huh? He shook his head. You people disgust me.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Questions bubbled on my lips, but he waved them off with sharp chop of his hand. sliced the air and demanding my silence. He ran his tongue. Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. He ran his tongue over my teeth. Oh, God damn it. I read that wrong.
Oh, God. I was disgusted.
Yeah, I read it the way I thought I did, but I didn't. He ran his tongue over his teeth, sneering. You look like you've already seen some of the horrors that this place holds, huh? Yes. I could tell by the looks of your eyes. You're terrified. You've seen something, haven't you? It doesn't seem all that bad now, does it? Looking back, you've been here 5 minutes and already you're shitting your pants. Where am I? I gasped, unable to hold back any longer. What do you people want? The man crossed his arms behind his back. I bet you want to get out of here, don't you? I bet you'd like to go back to your home, your family, everything. Please, I interrupted. Whatever I did to you, I'm sorry. I really am, but I don't remember. The man rolled his eyes. You didn't do anything to me. You did it to yourself. You really don't remember anything. I shook my head and felt tears brimming in my eyes. Liquid fear. The man looked at me.
Liquid death. Murder your first.
That would be a nice sponsor.
Liquid death. I'm actually drinking liquid death right here, but it's in a flask, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, same.
Liquid death spiked with rum.
The man looked at me with contempt. You waited until your wife left for work, and then you went out to the woodshed and hung yourself. You're dead.
Wow.
Oh. This recent memory rose in my mind like a monster from a bog. My eyes went wide. As much as I wanted to deny it, he was right. I had killed myself. This incident tore through my brain like a bullet train and left me reeling. I'm Danny, by the way. This man said, ignoring the shocked look on my face, and I'm number 2 here. I run the orientation process. I want to make this quick because I'm tired of repeating this fucking thing to you pathetic suicides. You get one question before I begin. He stared down at me and I scrambled to organize my thoughts into something cohesive. This was all horrifying. Why had I killed myself? I fought against the fog and panic, and the mist of confusion slowly began to lift. I had just lost my job. Yes, that was the start. I squeezed my eyes and shut to focus more on the memory to emerge. I had lost my job, and I was about to lose the house. My wife, Tess. She found out and was going to leave me. I didn't have any way out. Didn't have any option. Getting fired and had to come out of the blue, and I didn't have much to... Getting fired had come out of the blue, and I didn't have much in savings. I was broke, soon to be homeless, and my wife hated me for it. There was something else. Yes, that's right. She had been cheating on me. I had seen the text on her phone while she slept one night and confirmed my suspicions. My life had degraded to shit, and I ran out of options. Humiliated and ashamed, I had decided death was my only option.
Wow.
Hey, fucker, do you have any questions or not? Danny said, snapping his fingers in front of my face. I was sucked back to reality, and I asked the only question that mattered. Is this hell? That's a good question, honestly.
All right, yeah.
Danny snorted. That's always what you people ask. You begin to pace back and forth. Okay. He began to pace back and forth in front of me. No, this is not hell. It's not heaven either. This is the Black Farm. And no, I didn't name it that. This is where God sends the souls who have ended their own lives. Suicide. You see, you He doesn't really know what to do with you. Neither does the devil. There are genuinely good people who kill themselves. Seems cruel to banish them to hell for all eternity for moments of weakness, right? Personally, I think God and the devil were just tired of arguing about it, and so they send them here to the Black Farm.
Interesting.
I like that. I like that concept, honestly. It's actually pretty. Is this like a what do you call? Is that like purgatory, or where is it where you get tested
I would
before?
say, yeah, purgatory, roughly.
Is that what you think? This is kind of what it is.
Basically, except for that they've already been judged because they
Yeah, because the way they chose.
did not aliving. So yeah, I would assume, yeah, it's just a predetermined, like, if you unalive, this is where you go, because we don't have a process. We don't know what to do.
Did God create this place? I asked, growing more and more confused. Danny spit on the floor, chuckling. Sure, at some point, but he lost control of it when he put the pig in charge. What's the pig? I asked, unsure. I wanted to know the answer. Danny held up a hand, annoyed. Can I fucking finish? God created this place eons ago, but the pig in charge, but put the pig in charge and then forgot about it for a while. Well, when his back was turned, the pig decided to use his new powers to try and create his own little world. This mess you see around you is a fractured remains of that experiment. The Black Farm used to be a lot nicer, but the pig wanted things to be different. He wanted to create his own vision. These people you see, these monsters, they are the pig's attempt of creating functioning life instead of mirroring God's earth. This mutated, horrible creations of full of sin and hatred. They run rampant here, unable, unabashed.
Unabashed, yeah.
This place is chaos. The Black Farm is a circus of freaks and monsters, and it's your eternity. Interesting.
So unabashed means not embarrassed, disconcerted, or ashamed.
Nice.
So they don't give a fuck, basically.
That's a good way to put it.
Good mentality.
Fear boiled in my gut like a thick oil. No, this couldn't be my end. I didn't believe in stuff like this. This wasn't real. I would wake up soon and realize it was just having a nightmare. That had to be it. Danny stood before me and lightly slapped my face. Hey, don't go into his hysteric on me.
Hysterics, yeah.
I haven't finished yet. I raised my teary eyes to meet his. Danny smiled. You can always feed the pig. Ooh.
Interesting, okay.
My breath pushed.
He said the name of the story. Let's go.
Yep. There you go. That's where you know it's a banger.
Yeah.
My breath pushed from my lungs like burning steam. Well, what does that mean? Danny spread his hands, still smiling. It's as simple as that. Feed the pig. If you do so, there's a chance he'll send you back to your life.
Huh.
And what happens if it doesn't? I bumbled. You get sent to hell. So flip a coin if you have one. Stay here with us or feed the pig. If you choose to stay, I'll let you go. I'll let you go out there, he said, pointing towards the door. But let me assure you, what awaits you at the end of the hallway, well, let's just say hell isn't that much worse.
Interesting, okay.
I swallowed hard, trying my best to digest everything. Why wouldn't I try feeding the pig? Whatever that meant. If there was even a silver of hope, I would take it. An eternity in this place, the Black Farm, but sent to hell, or feed the pig. I would do anything for a chance to go back. This nightmare made my problem seem nothing in comparison. Danny raised a hand before I could speak. I'll let you think on it a while. I'll be back later. I want to feed the pig, I cried out, not wanting to spend another second in this awful room. I could hear a woman screaming down the hallway, her cries rising as something meaty pounded into her. My breath came in sharp pulls and my throat burned. Danny noticed the noise and grinned. Sounds pretty bad, huh? He said softly as a woman's voice creaked with agony. Something was still slamming into her. The sound of beating flesh ignited my imagination with horrors.
Yeah,
Please.
Jesus.
That's kind of fucked.
Yeah, this story might fuck with me, man.
I mean, it's definitely going to do something.
It's a very detailed, like,
It's very
descriptions of
well
things. Yeah.
detailed of this.
Like, I like how he describes, like, how these things are interacting with his, like, mental. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like, I heard the noise, and then, what's he say? My breath came in sharp pulls, and my throat burned. Like, that's really good description, like,
Yeah.
descriptors, fuck. But yeah.
Please, I gasped breathlessly. Just let me feed the pig. I don't want to stay here any longer. Danny turned away from me. I'll be back later. Enjoy your time alone. Really think about your situation. Weigh your options and remember, you put yourself here. Ooh, that's kind of fucked to tell somebody that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and with that, he was gone, leaving me in the dim room. Tears streaming down my face. The woman didn't stop screaming for hours.
Okay.
Damn. All right. So first quarter way done. We're in the Black Farm.
Yep.
He's gonna
The
go feed the pig.
purgatory of people who did an unspeakable act to themselves.
What would you do? Would you feed the pig or just say fuck it? I'm staying here.
I'd feed the pig
What do
for
you
a
got
chance
to
to come back.
lose?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, like, you're basically in hell, or you get a chance to come back, or you're in hell. So you
I feel
got to
like
take the latter.
the way they're already describing it, he's already in hell.
Yeah, I mean, well, like Danny
In a
said,
way.
that hell's not much worse. So you got to pick your poison on that one. So yeah.
Exactly.
At some point, I fell into a semi sleep. The darkness in the room seemed to press in on me. My eyes fluttered shut. My body ached, and my throat was a halo of fire, ring of fire, if you will, by Johnny Cash. Thirst ranked in my windpipe. Oh, that sounds like a weird ass line. Like sharp glass. My lips felt like crumbled paper. My head thundered like a drum. The room swam in and out of focus, and my mind drifted towards the horrific sounds that never ended. I was lost in a haze, unaware that something was sliding into the room until I felt a sharp prick on my big toe. I jolted out of my daze as my bare foot ignited in pain. I screamed and tried to move, but my bindings held me tight. The room rushed back into focus, and I blinked in agony. I felt blood trickle between my toes. I looked down for the source of the pain. I felt a scream claw up my throat. Staring up at me was an armless man. He slithered on the floor like a worm. His bald head scabbed and filthy. His legs were wrapped together with in barbed wire, Jesus, forcing him to wiggle his body to move. His eyes were lidless and wide to bloodshot white orbs that stared up at me with hungry intensity. His teeth had been removed and replaced with long screws. Wow, this is fucked up.
Oh my god.
Which jutted from his bleeding gums like a broken rock formation. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Fuck. It's that game where you enter the Evil Within.
Yes.
It sounds like that.
It
Like
does
these
sound like
creatures
that.
sound like that. So that's pretty cool.
Evil Within's fucked.
Yeah, I started playing the Evil Within 2, and there's one really scary monster that's like made out of a bunch of dolls and shit, and it's
Ooh.
like real creepy. But I haven't played it all the way through yet. So, anyway, around his neck was a chain leash, which I followed across the floor to the open door. The end of the leash was held by a tall, naked man. Naked man. His body was hairless and flabby, covered in similar scabs like his pet. A dirty bag was pulled over his head that hid his features except for one single red eye, Red Eyes Black Dragon, that peeked out at me from the crude cut in the cloth. Sorry. He stared at me. Oh my god. Okay. He stared at me and groped his engorged member, his breath heavy and labored as the armless man wriggled toward me. Again, his master started to goon. I screamed as the screw filled. Wait, what? I screamed as the screw filled my mouth and bit at me again. Oh, sorry, I'm fucked. I screamed as the screw-filled mouth bit me again, and cries seemed to stimulate the naked man even more. Get off me! Stop it! I screamed, horrified. I tried to kick at the man, doing my best to avoid his sharp metal teeth. I brought my heel down on his head, and he screamed as his face bounced off the floor. Wow, this is a weird story. Why did I get this part?
I don't know.
A moan of pleasure escaped the bagged man's mouth, and I turned away as a mist of as a mist of black sprayed onto the floor. There was a rattle of chains, and I turned back to see the two of them leaving. The armless man dragged by his neck out the door. I looked at where the bagman had gooned, where the bagman had edged, and saw a puddle of dead ants. I vomited onto myself thick, chunky curtains of bile and slime. Get me out of here! I screamed. Strands of puke, I guess, running down my chin. I don't belong here. I listened to the two men retreat down the hallway, the clank of chains accompanied with the sound of flesh being dragged across the concrete. I screamed again, but I know no one was going to help me. I spit a wad of phlegm and bile onto the floor, ridding my mouth of its sourness. I forced myself to calm down. It wasn't easy. At some point, I heard someone else approaching. It had been a miserable lull. My mind a blank canvas of dark and despair. But the noise roused me from the trance-like state. The muscles in my arms burned and began restrained for so long. I shifted them desperately, trying my best to prepare myself for whatever horror was about to walk through the door.
Oh yeah, he's still chained up, ain't he?
Yeah, he's still tied up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, how the fuck's he like not avoiding this guy getting bit?
Yeah, because he's still. Yeah, he's.
I was like, I forgot he was still chained.
Wrapped up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what the bagman was into. Footsteps drew closer, and a woman walked into the room. She stopped at the doorway and looked at me. One of her eyes was missing, a dark, cavernous hole in her skull. Her hair was ratty and wild, a brown tangle like a forgotten nest. Her skin was pale and filthy. She was dressed in rags. I couldn't tell how old she was, but there was maturity in her one good eye. Still thinking? She asked, her voice coarse and brittle. What? She took a step closer. Are you still deciding what you're going to feed the pig, or whether you're going to feed the pig or not? I looked at her curiously, cautiously. Oh my God, what is happening?
All the same.
I looked at her cautiously. Yeah, I am. Who are you? What do you want? I was once where you are now, she said, trying to decide my fate. I couldn't believe that this, what was happening to me, what happened after we die. It wasn't what I thought. Religion didn't warn me about this place. I tested my bindings again before asking, you unalived yourself too? You're a person like me. You're not one of those creations? She snorted. breaks my heart you have to ask, though. She touched the hole where her eye should have been. Though I can understand your caution. Yeah, I'm I'm suicidal. I've been here a long time, but that was my choice. I decided to chance it here. I'm motivated. I'm motioned with my head towards the door. What's out there? What's all this? What is all this? She exhaled heavily and leaned against the wall. I can't even begin to describe this place. It's nothing like you've ever seen. You walk down the hallway, you go out into, and she swallowed. You'd have to see it to understand. Uh, how bad is it? All of these mutated people hurting and killing each other, I asked. She let her head loll back against the wall. It would take years for you to fully understand this place, years you don't have right now. You have to make a decision, stay or feed the pig. They tell me hell is worse than here, and it can't be much. Wait, sorry, but it can't be by much. Monsters and suicidals roam Black Farm, killing, brutalizing, and then when you wake up and wonder how long you can survive before something else kills you, it's an endless cycle. So why did you stay? I pressed. Why didn't you feed the pig? I don't even know what that means, but I do. But I would do anything for a chance to go back. I can't stay here. I just can't. She smiled sadly at me. Why? Why did I choose this place? It's simple, really. I'm a coward. I was a coward when I was alive, and I'm a coward in death. When it came down to it, when the moment presented itself, I chose to stay here. I didn't want to know what awaited me outside. It boiled down to a simple choice, fueled by my own fear. What is the pig? What does it do to you? I pressed. She suddenly turned to go. Excuse me? I'm afraid that's for you to find out. But let me warn you, think hard before you make a decision. Sometimes suffering through all your fears is better than suffering in eternity. Be brave. What do I do? I yelled, shaking in my chair as she walked down the door. She paused and took one look over her shoulders. Her eyes darted around and she dropped her voice to a whisper. Feed the pig. And with that, she was gone. I sat in silence. My mind was spinning, desperately turning over my options. I still couldn't fully understand the situation I was in. It was too much, too overwhelming. The other side of death wasn't supposed to be like this. I didn't know what I had expected, but it wasn't this nightmare. Questions crashed over my mind like cold waves onto a sinking ship. How was I supposed to make a choice if I didn't even know what my actions entailed? This place, the Black Farm. I could stay here, but if I went to hell, what if I didn't get sent back? I would be out of the fire and into the frying pan. My existence would forever be damned in unending misery. Here, though, here there were people like suicidals. It wasn't all monsters or mutated murderers. Maybe I could hold up somewhere with them, try to scrape together a passable existence. Surely that would be better than getting sent to hell. Oops. No, it wasn't. No, this wasn't going to be how I spend my eternity. I refused to let it be. If there was even the slightest sliver of hope, I would take it. I didn't want to wonder what could have been. I didn't want to be tortured by doubt. I would feed the pig and accept whatever fate chose me. When I boiled it down, that was the only option left. I would feed the pig. Hey, hello, Danny? I rattled in my chair. I've made my decision, Danny. After a couple seconds, I heard footsteps echo down the hallway towards me. Danny walked through the doorway and an annoyed look on his face. I've made my choice, I said. I'm going to feed the pig. Sounds like you've really thought a lot about this since I left you, Danny said sarcastically. I licked my lips. You'd do the same if you were in my place. Danny walked behind me. Um, I was in your place once, and I chose differently. My eyes widened as Danny wrapped my entire head with a strip of thin cloth, blinding me. I sucked in as much air as I could, but each lungful felt empty. I felt Danny cut me free from the chair, and my body sighed as stiff muscles were released. I rolled my shoulders back. I rolled my shoulders as my hands were released, and I moaned with relief. I dug my fingers into my back and stretched, my bones creaking. I still made another read. Imagine that, me not reading good. It's not. It's almost like that was kind of the premise of the channel.
Yes.
So what do you think so far?
It's pretty wild, to be honest, and it looks like, it sounds like, at least they're taking him to the pig, at least, which is, at least that's assuring.
Okay, I think what it is I don't think he's going to take him to the pig. I think he's going to let him go, and then he needs to find his way to the pig. Like, he's going to be like, if you want to feed the pig, this is where you need to go. And
Yeah, that's
everything
fair.
he sees along the way is going to try to convince him otherwise, probably.
Yeah. Whew. Sorry. Yeah, no, I can definitely
You're
see
good,
that.
man. I've been yawning a lot.
Other than that, pretty good. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Okay, my bone's creaking. Keep your blindfold on and follow me, Danny said, pulling me up. My legs shook as I put weight on them, my thighs trembling after their long cemented position. I groped blindly in front of me and found Danny's shoulder. I rested my hand on it as he walked us out of the room. As we entered the hallway, I could suddenly hear a sound I hadn't before: the clink of metal, a long, fleshy, tearing noise, something vomiting. The sound sprang to life in my ears, painting the darkness before my eyes with imaginary scenes of horror. I gripped Danny's shoulder tighter, my heart thundering. Oh, wait, sorry. Stumbling behind him, my heart thundering. I heard something trailing behind us, but Danny didn't seem to notice, or if he did, he didn't care. Flesh slapped the concrete mere inches behind me, and I suddenly felt hot breath on my neck and the click of a wet tongue against gums. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
My breath became even more labored as fear choked me. Go and feed the piggy. Sorry. Going to feed the piggy, are ya? It's a pirate. Something whispered in my ear. I felt the press against the back of my head, and I tried not to think about what it might be. It was wet and slimy, and I heard the thing chuckle. He's a hungry pig, eh? It's not a pirate anymore. I lost the pirate accent. He's a hungry pig, eh? It became fucking British.
Who the fuck is this?
You make sure he's getting his meal now. That's probably what he intended, was a British voice.
More likely.
The thing whispered again, its voice low and unlike anything I'd heard before. It was like a series of grunts and moans jumbled together to form broken words. To my relief, I heard the thing retreat back to wherever it had come from, and I continued to follow Danny. He remained silent as we walked, and I could feel shifts in the air. Thick heat gave way to cooler, almost pleasant temperature, but then it kept decreasing, and soon I was shivering, vomiting against the cold, or violently against the cold. I could see that anything but a breeze on my face. Okay, I'm sorry. I couldn't see anything, but I felt a breeze on my face, like we were outside. I didn't hear Danny open any doors, but nothing about this place was natural. It was like reality blurred and bled into itself, like reels of film melting together. Teeth clattering, I was suddenly blasted with an intense heat, and I gasped. Talking about the heat is making me fucking hot.
Yeah, I'm pretty hot as well. I wanted to wear a hoodie, but
it's hot as hell right now,
Mhm.
and I'm so tired of this heat, man.
yeah, I
I
hate
can't-
waking up in sweat, to be honest.
Yeah. heat, I gasped. My feet tripped over themselves as the terrain changed, and I was suddenly walking on what felt like warm iron. Gross. My ears were filled with the sound of blazing furnaces and the clash of working machinery. I couldn't see it, but it felt like there was a vast open expanse overhead. I smelled ash and tasted dirt on my tongue, sweat already forming along my spine. That's the worst. When you're so hot, you
Yes.
can feel the sweat drip down your spine. I
Mm-hmm.
hate that so much, dude.
It's so annoying.
Suddenly, I crashed into Danny as he came to a halt. I backed up a few paces quickly and muttered, "My apologies." I could hear movement in front of us, a rustle of chains, and an odd clicking sound on the metal floor. Something else, too. Something snorting. Suddenly, I already read that part. And then the room filled with a deafening sound of an immense pig squealing. I covered my ears, head splitting at the high pitched. I grit my teeth as the noise echoed off the metal and faded into a series of snorts and grunts. It sounded absolutely enormous. "I've brought another one," Danny announced, a slight tinge of respect lining his voice. He wants to feed the pig. I waited, expecting to hear some answer, the cloth around my eyes sealing my sight to darkness. I realized my knees were shaking and my back was coated in sweat. I was terrified. "Is that what you wish?" Danny said, and I felt him bow under my hand. Apparently, some unseen conversation had just happened, and Danny took my wrist and pushed me forward. "Approach the pig," he instructed. My whole
Mm-hmm.
body trembled and my knees locked into place. Robbed from sight, I raised my hands, trying to get my bearings, the heat and ash filling my head with nausea. Nausea? Yeah, nausea. I felt like I was going to throw up, my stomach rolling like the Dead Sea. I didn't know where or what horror lay before me. I felt lost and tiny. A fresh splash of tears dripping down my eyes, soaking into the cloth on my face. Please," I begged. "Let me see what's happening." Danny was suddenly behind me and pushed me forward. He guided my hand towards something as we stepped together in unison. Even with the cloth around my face, I could see a giant mass of towering darkness before me. It was a spot of black on an already darkened canvas. That's kind of creepy.
That was effed.
As we walked forward, I was suddenly assaulted by a horrendous smell and gagged, turning away. Danny's grip tightened and forced me to continue. I could sense something just in front of me, a living, shifting mass of flesh. The smell increased to a wretched level, and I gagged again. Then the hot air began to blow on my face, a blast of heat that came in repeated short bursts. I vomited into my cloth. The source of the
Hmm.
smell, steaming. Yeah, that's gross because now it's all just like sitting there.
Ah, that's fucked.
Um, the source of the smell stemming from the hot air. I choked as bile overtook the fabric, soaking it, and momentarily cutting off my oxygen. Danny slapped my hands away, and I took a few seconds to steady my breath again. I was opening crying now, openly crying. I don't know. Fear
Probably.
and misery collapsing my willpower. The wet cloth, uh, the wet cloth stunk as I sucked in soggy breaths. My own stomach acid coated my skin. I begged for all of this to be over, and then something squealed directly in front of me. I felt my bladder go. Another story where they pissed them.
Nah.
God dang it.
We got a pisser.
We got a pisser. Then something squealed directly in front of me. I felt my bladder go as I was standing before the pig. It was a source of darkness in my obscured vision, a fat, titanic creature that filled my senses with every breath it blew into my face. Danny raised my hands, and suddenly I touched the pig's snout. I recoiled immediately, but Danny forced my hands back. Its fur was stiff and brittle, and I was shaking. Oh, as my shaking hands explored up its nose, The size of the animal became clear to me. It
Hey,
was gigantic. What's up?
do you think feed the pig means he gets eaten by the pig?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I was insinuating, or like that's what I was interpreting immediately.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking about it. I was like, well, fuck, what do you like? What is you gonna have a choice? Like, you either choose the cake, a burger, or some chum. You choose whichever
Yeah, it's
gets
like
you.
whichever one you give him, it's like the Indiana Jones where
The
they're looking for
cake
the Holy
puts
Grail,
you
and
in
he has to
hell.
pick out the right one.
And the cake puts you in hell. The burger brings you back, and then the chum just kills you, or it just puts
Or
you right back.
it's literally like a Holy Grail situation where it's like the ugliest one is the correct answer. So you give him the chum, and then you get to go back to your life.
True. But yeah, no, I
Literally,
wonder.
concepts, not the story.
I wonder if it's a scenario to where he eats you, and depending on where you are mentally, or like if you're like, you're, I don't know. I
It
bet.
might, yeah, it might, yeah. I think you're right. It might be like a mentality thing where, depending on if you genuinely believe that you get a chance, a second chance,
Yeah,
then
that's
that's what
it.
you get. You
Yeah,
know, something like that.
that's
So,
where I could see it. And I mean, I'm still digging it. I'm all in still.
yeah. Let's see where I'm at.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It was gigantic and had weight over a ton. Its flesh wiggled under my sweating hands, and it opened its mouth slightly. My fingers curled around its teeth the size of kitchen knives and realized its mouth was absolutely cavernous. The pig squealed again, and I heard the hooves clacking against the ground. It sounded like thunder rolling across an open field in the middle of summer. Ugh,
Jeez,
summer.
how big is this thing?
You must be a big motherfucker, dude.
That's awesome.
Danny had taken a few steps back as I heard reverence in his voice. You don't want to do that. I jumped as the pig nudged me with his nose, a wet circle of flesh squishing against the length of my face. Ugh. I shuddered away, raising my hands and emitting a cry of fear. Feed the pig, Danny instructed. His voice was like cold steel now. You made your choice. Live with it. It's the only chance you have of going back. Or maybe the pig won't like how you taste and send you to hell. Only one way to find out.
Yep, there it is. Yep.
Yep. The fact that this guy is like, because right below it says, my eyes widen with vomit soaked cloth, won't like how I taste. You didn't pick that up? Like, I feel like as soon as he said feed the pig and you're like seeing the creatures that are here, you're like, oh, that means I need to jump in its mouth. Like, that's exactly what I would think immediately.
I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about that at all. So,
Yeah, I get it. Like, you'd be like, oh, it could be a trial like that. Like, my first thought was it could be a trial like that, and then immediately I was like, oh no, he's literally left to literally be eaten by the pig.
yeah,
So
and so far it seems out of all the two, like the girl and Danny have both been in his spots. And do you think they were just too coward to attempt this at all, or
yeah, yeah.
because it
But
seems
Danny
like
is like second in command here, so he ended up getting
he kind of was okay with
like
it
he like
almost?
worked his way up to get a position of power or something.
Yeah, I wonder if he was kind of like he got the option. He's like, fuck that, like,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, and ended up loving this place or some shit.
True. Yeah. My eyes widened behind the vomit-soaked cloth. Won't like how I taste. Climb into his mouth. My bladder let go again, and I felt warm piss run my
Bruh.
leg, run down my leg. No, no, you can't mean. Danny's voice hardened, climbed into its mouth, and stopped crawling forward until it's done with you. Please, I begged, turning towards Danny's voice, reaching out blindly. Please, there has to be some other way. Don't make me do this. It, blah, blah, blah. I was a mess of snot and tears, my words bubbling from my mouth like a toddler. Danny stepped forward and spun me back to face the pig. Do it.
Do
You
it.
made your choice. Do
Do
it.
it.
It will be over soon. This is your only chance. I could feel the pig breathing onto my face. Its snout its snout mere inches away from mine. Fuck, inches from mine. The smell and the heat emitted made me want to vomit again, but I held it back. This wasn't sane. This wasn't happening. My mind spun and twisted into chaos and fear. There had to be some other way. I couldn't do this. I could not do this. Suddenly, I remembered the words of the woman. Sometimes suffering through your fear is better than suffering for an eternity. Be brave.
Hmm.
This was my only chance to get back to the world of the living. I had made such a terrible mistake unaliving myself. If I could go back and change my life, I would want to spend eternity. I wouldn't want to spend eternity here. I could change my ways, ensure a spot somewhere else, somewhere away from the pig. But if I wanted to, wait, sorry. But if it decided to send me to hell, how much more suffering could I endure? I had to take the chance. Please, God, I whispered, taking a step forward. If you can hear me, please have mercy on me. My shaking hands reached out for the pig. I grasped its thick fur. It felt. Oh, I'm sorry. It felt slow. It felt. I felt it slowly lower its head and open its mouth. It wasn't waiting for me. Its thick, hot breath stinking in my nostrils. This was it. No turning back. I slowly gripped my teeth and pulled myself forward into the jaws. Its head was in a downward angle, so I immediately fell into the stomach uh, at a 45-degree angle. The wet tongue squished under me, and I was shaking so hard I could barely breathe. Tears soaked my blindfold, and my heart crushed against my ribs.
Mm.
I slowly reached forward and found another tooth to grab onto. Gritting my teeth, I pulled my body inward past my knees. The pig raised its head and I was suddenly horizontal on its tongue. Saliva and mucus dripped around me, and the heat was so intense, I almost blacked out. My knees clacked against its front teeth as I pulled myself even deeper. Its inner cheeks pressed, he's cheeked up, pressed around me, squeezing my body. But it's like, sorry, fuck me, squeezing my body like a soaking, fleshy coffin. Crying, terrified, I reached ahead of me and found more teeth. I pulled myself deeper into its mouth and I felt my feet slide past its lips. My whole body was coated in slime, and I openly wept, grasping into the darkness for another tooth. Wow, how far down is his fucking mouth, my guy?
Okay, so now I wonder if this is not that big to where, because that whole time he's just climbing in, I guess.
Yeah, but like, say he's the average size of a human male.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had like that mouth is at least like 5 feet deep.
You would think. So, I mean,
Because he's all the way in his mouth and he's still grabbing teeth ahead of him.
yeah, I don't know.
So that's what that mouth do. What that mouth do, piggy?
Damn. Kermit got it easy.
Hey, hey, fucking speaking of Kermit,
Crying, terrified, I reached around me, found more teeth. I put myself deeper into its mouth. I felt my feet slide past its lips. My whole body was coated in. Okay, I already read that. Fuck, I'm sorry. And that's when the pig started to chew on me.
Mm.
I screamed in crushing agony as my body was compressed between its massive teeth. I heard my legs snap instantaneously, and it's. I'm sorry. Instantaneously, and felt a wet bone pop from my skin. Gross. Um, I shook violently as my body into shock. Spasmed into shock. A mangled twist of blood and pain. Its tongue shifted me in its mouth, and I felt it bite down on my shoulder. My eyes bulged in their sockets as I howled, a hot pillar crushing down my collarbone. Jesus Christ. I threw up
Ah.
violently, unable to control myself, the pain overwhelming. Keep crawling, screaming, keep crawling. Screaming, bloodshot eyes rolling wildly. I reached forward with my good arm, take my strong hand, wetly searching for another tooth. I grit my teeth, blood squirting between them as my fingers wrapped around something solid. The pig bit down again, its tongue twisting my body so its molars could snap down on my knees. The pain brought darkness, but my howling screams forced my eyes to remain open. Jesus, make it stop! I bellowed out, my trembling hand still gripping the tooth ahead of me. Please make it fucking stop. I ground my teeth together so hard they cracked, screaming as if I pulled my body deeper into the mouth. Something was changing. The tight walls of its throat squeezed my head, and I realized I was almost through. Come on, motherfucker. Or come on, you motherfucker. Come on. I begged, vocal cords cracking as I reached ahead of me and grabbed onto a thick wad of flesh. My head felt like it was splitting, and the pig bit down on me again. I gasped. Blood exploded from my mouth, and a great gush of red. It had pierced through my stomach, obliterating my insides and my like bloated noodles. Cooper, you do not look comfortable,
This is
bro.
fucking awful.
Yeah, this is wild. Darkness rushed in on me, and I was too much shocked to even scream. With the last of my strength, right as blackness took me, I pulled myself forward one last time and felt myself slide down its throat.
Brother.
Wow.
That whole I honestly didn't I mean, I don't know what to really expect with how we've gotten the story, and then for that,
That is like the description of like the pain and the idea of just having all of that crushed immediately is like terrifying. Genuinely terrifying.
it goes back to the fucking question I asked before. Would you feed the pig?
Yes, still, because of the
Yeah.
chance of coming back.
That's so fucked. All right, let's finish up this story. Let's see what happens with our main protagonist. Darkness. Darkness. Falling,
Imprisoning
screaming. I was screaming. Heat so intense I thought I would melt. Clanging, something was hammering on a metal. Color and images flew past me so quick I could only make out their shapes. Blood poured into my eyes. I felt like I would keep falling forever. Suddenly my eyes snapped open and I was falling. My breath rushed back to my lungs in a great wave of purity. My face bounced off wood floor as I cried out as I felt my nose break. I tasted blood and I saw stairs. I had stopped falling. There was a ring of burning fire around my throat, and
Ring of fire.
I felt impossibly thirsty. I was lying on the floor. Slowly, I opened my eyes again, and the darkness began to fade like morning mist under a hot sun. Colors
Nice.
blending together, and shapes came into focus. I was in my woodshed. I reached up around my throat and grasped at the source of heat. It was the rope I had hung myself with. But now it was severed, releasing me from the grips of death. Relief rolled over me in overwhelming waves of thanks. I curled up on the floor and sobbed, tears dripping from my eyes into a dirty floor. My body shook unbroken as I wept. Wet horse cries rising from my quivering lips. I had been spared. I was alive again. From my spot on the floor, I turned my eyes upward, my voice cracking. Thank you, God. Oh, thank you. I fell into another fit of uncontrollable sobbing. I promise I won't waste my life again. I promise I'll make things right. I'll fix everything. I don't know how long it was before I got up. Time seemed to stretch for eternity. My mind refused to rebuttal the horrors of what I had just witnessed, crushing me. But I knew I would do everything I could to make the most out of my life. I was going to live every day to the fullest. I would devote myself to helping others in dark times. I would reach out as many Suis as I could, try to save them from awaited on the other side. I didn't want anyone else to have to witness the horrors of. I didn't want anyone else to have to feed the pig.
Wow.
XTX.
Yeah, I clicked on it. It's a link to his Facebook.
Oh, it's a link.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I
just
guess
a
it
link
is.
to the Facebook. Yeah, that's it. I do like this first comment. Mother of God, that was good.
Oh shit, bro! I remember I was on Audible, and the Black Farm came up,
Oh,
and I almost listened to it, which
maybe
is,
it's like
is it the
separate.
same? No, it's a different. I think this is another story of him
Okay.
going to the black. Like it's a family, or it's a husband and wife. I think
Oh, interesting.
that's what I think it is, unless it's the same thing. Oh, the Return of the Black Farm audiobook is now available.
Oh, where'd you see
Okay, that's
that?
pretty cool. It's on his Facebook.
Oh, really?
That was a good story. It was.
Yeah, that was really
That's-
good.
The detail, like you said, the details were.
Yeah,
fucking
just
nuts.
the way that he would like describe things is crazy. I could do without the gooning bagman.
Yeah,
but,
that was kind of a.
I mean, it's like obviously it's set dressing, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's explainable in the context of the story. I just would have rather not, but
Yeah.
still
alright.
a very descriptive part. So
Oh,
you know.
100%. But other than that, I mean, it delivered the way I kind of like
Absolutely, yeah.
what I
Mhm.
assumed. I was like, all right, this is a story about hell, which I mean, it wasn't, but it fucking was pretty good. And I actually think I'm going to look into the Black Farm.
Yeah,
Or is it
if
the
you
Dark
do, let me know if it's good. I won't read it because I don't read.
It's an
clearly.
audio.
Yeah, I don't have time for audiobooks. I only have time to listen to music, the same album on repeat endlessly. So yeah, you know.
I'll let you know. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the creator is Elias Withrow. That's how you say his last
Yes,
name,
and
right?
I believe that checks out to his Facebook too.
Yeah. Link to
Yep.
this story, Elias's story here will be in the description. I give this this
Do it.
10.
10.
It was
Yeah, I
well
agree.
written.
I
Had a-
think this is our first 10.
I do like how at the very beginning when he was like swimming in dull pain surrounded my throat, I was thirsty.
Yeah.
And his throat was already burning, and it was from the rope. Already.
Yeah. Oh
And it
my god,
came
I
back.
didn't get it. That's
At the
wild.
very end, he was saying when he was coming to, he's like, "Oh, my throat's burning."
Yeah, thirsty. Oh, you're right. That's a good catch. I did not.
I really
get
enjoyed that part. It was very wholesome too. To come from a very gory, fucked up spot to where he's back. He gets another chance.
So I wonder if it was almost like seconds had passed in the real world.
I would
Probably
imagine
something
it was one of those scenarios to where, so you kicked the stool or whatever, hung there, for you've seen them to where they're hanging there, they're like done, and then the ceiling fan drops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he like lands, and then it's like that's when he's back. So yeah, that's basically what I was imagining. So
I would have bet like he just got to the point, and then
it was like he was just about to pass out, and then he fell and woke up, or like he
Mhm.
just became unconscious, some crap like that.
Perfect. Highly recommend this to all you listeners or watchers.
Yeah, so make sure you go check out the links to the story in the description. And also, we have a link to our store, scissor.com. Again, there is merch on the way. The logo is currently still being designed, so it's still could be a little bit, but it's in the works. So expect it soon. Make sure you buy that stuff because I think the logo that we have is pretty fire. So
Indeed. That being said, thank you all for watching. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.